Australia have been thrashed, 295 run loss. It at one stage looked like it could have been well over 350 run loss. Thank you to Travis Head for making some runs and saving a little bit of face, but it was all India, other than maybe the first innings, which we'll get to in just a second. Obviously, the likes of Jasprit Bumrah, we know how damaging he can be, but we're also getting a look at the future with YB Jaiswal. He's pretty good at cricket. So let's start with the selections. I was scratching my head when I saw that Ravi Ashwin and Ravi Jadeja both left out of Gautam Gambhir's selections. So Ravi Ashwin is number 2 all-time wicket taker for India. Ravi Jadeja is number 5 all-time, 855 wickets between them. They decided to debut Nitish Kumar Reddy, who's a batting all-rounder. Didn't bowl heaps, but was batting pretty reasonably at 8. So you imagine either Ashwin or Jadeja got missed out because of the selection of this young fella. And then Harshit Rana, who was pretty good with his debut, right up quick, got picked over the likes of Akash Deep and Prasidh Krishna. And they did what we have not been able to do, and that's blood some youth and them do reasonably well straight away. This Indian side has 6 players 25 or younger.
Yeah. And I think going back to our classic analysis after the Gabba, we talked a lot about depth and potential talent bases, and we know how talent rich that area here is, and just got to get
the Gabba 4 years ago after we lost at the Gabba.
And the amount of potential talent that they can find, And, we were talking about the story earlier of Jaiswal. How do you say his name? Is
Jaiswal, I think.
His story of how he got into being a cricketer is quite amazing. So,
essentially, if you haven't heard, was scouted at a young age. He's from Uttar Pradesh, up in the north of India. Moved down to Mumbai to try and follow his dreams. Playing academy cricket, sort of at the age of 12, 13. Found himself homeless. Was sleeping in a tent at certain aspects. And one of the coaches down there at one of the academies just saw the talent and invested heavily in him, and actually became his legal guardian for a time there. And obviously, it's paying off dividends now that the bloke's 22. But anyone
being able to find the talent, I think is the impressive thing. But I think if you've got plenty of talent to have a look at.
He's been on the radar since 2015, 2016. The kid was making triple hundreds for fun, coming through as a mid-teenager, and obviously very hard to break into that Indian squad, and he's taken the bull by its horns. And we'll get to him in a little bit more when we're talking in the second innings, but obviously very good selection there.
Yeah, so to answer your question on selections, I think in hindsight it probably makes a lot of sense with the pitch that it was probably a fast bowlers kind of pitch. It looked a lot better. And they had Washington if they really needed to throw some spinners down. So I think they probably picked the right team.
Well, you're not going
to deny it. I think outrageous performances from Bumrah, etc. But I think it all made a lot of sense. For the Aussies, only one really different change, and that was McSweeney coming in as the opener as the David Warner replacement.
Yeah, so not maybe direct David Warner replacement, given that had Cam Green been healthy in this side, probably Cam Green and Mitch Marsh both play, and Smith or Labuschagne open. We did see that sort of work last summer, not really, with Smith carrying his bat against the West Indies. But there's a David Warner-sized hole at the top of the order, at least for the games down under, that's for sure. And McSweeney pretty unlucky in that he got a couple of good seeds. But we'll get to our innings in just a second. Look, halfway through the first day, I actually thought, I hope we don't finish these guys in 3 days. I hope we actually get a contest. And then I hope I could go back and slap myself in the face for having such an outrageous thought. Not heaps in the deck. Like, certainly wasn't landmines. It was
very green day one, so it was fast.
It was fast, and there was a bit off the seam, but it's certainly quite different to the WACA tests of old. Still a fair bit of bounce, but not like up at your throat kind of stuff. And credit to our quicks led by Josh Hazelwood, did a good job of getting on top of their top order. Jaiswal gone for a duck, Padakal 2, 5 for Kohli, and it was actually Pant and the debutant Reddy that sort of steadied the ship and getting India to 150.
Yep.
How were you feeling when we were going out to bat?
Yeah, well, I thought that was, the game plan we'd done what we needed for the start. And
First
it was
two
like,
sessions.
it looked like another 3-day test at that point. Like it was going
of it, didn't it?
Yeah, it was going to be quick. There was going to be a lot of wickets. And yeah, there were a lot of wickets.
So the game started to turn on its head pretty quickly, mostly due to a bloke called Jasprit Bumrah. Got McSweeney for 10, he got Khawaja for 8, and then first ball duck for Steve Smith. We're just talking about this pre-show. I think, best since Bradman Smith, 2019, 2020 Smith, probably flicks that off his pads and picks up 4 runs for it. And clearly his hand-eye is starting to slow just that tiny little bit, and this one gets him.
Maybe not there as much as it was.
And the stuff that you used to scratch your head and think, how does he do that? Walking across his stumps first ball, and we used to go, oh, yes, he's just played it. I've played something similar. We've got the highlights in the background for us
today. This is day 4.
The stuff that he is able to do with pretty much no footwork and just walking across because of his hand-eyes, he doesn't seem like he can do it anymore.
Yeah, Father Time catches up to everyone, unfortunately. And it seems like it's starting to do that for Smith, especially with the motor dismissal. It seems to be a lot. He seems to be getting hit in the pads a lot. Yeah. But he wasn't the only one in the top order for Australia.
No, certainly the entire top order. Marnus we'll get to in just a second. He had a 50-ball run 2.
I just want to say on that golden duck, for Smith, I think the stat was like it's 194 his previous innings, no golden ducks, and he's had 2 in his last 4. So
right.
Yeah.
He got a cracker for New South Wales as well, that one that he left in the Shield. Shouldered arms and got struck on the pads and got fired without any Hawkeye. So, 3 ducks in the last month and a bit of cricket for Smudger. Pretty unusual.
Marnus?
Yeah, Marnus, 2 off 50. Saw a few rocks but wasn't able to score.
Got dropped on 0 though.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for Coley, something he probably should have gobbled up. But
yeah, I think Coley would be pretty happy with how things went in this test.
Yeah, considering he dropped him on 0, and then an hour later they get him on 2. So I think they'll take that.
You can see what he's trying to do. He's trying to do the old school, see off as many rocks as we can. We're in crisis mode. I kind of liked it. Survive. I feel like so much of the modern cricketers no, we've got to get back on. We've got to get back on top. We've got to take it back to the bowler. And yeah, that does work occasionally. Or other times they play a shot and you're like, what the fuck are you doing?
You shouldn't be playing.
We're 3 down. Yeah, don't play that shot. But anyways, he ends up going back for 2 off, not many. Yep. Marsh also only made 6. And we're kind of lucky to see a few late runs. This was early day 2 from Starkey and Carey and Hazelwood actually hanging around to get us to a massive 104 because it looked like it was going to be 75 for a bit there.
Yeah, when Stark's your top scorer, which is I think the 4th time he's done that for Australia. Kabata 9, that's a...
Well, how many times recently has Cummins or Stark or Carey top scored? A lot.
Well, they've had to save games, essentially, get runs, because our top order's collapsed, essentially.
So that brings me to the next question is it just getting harder to score runs down under? Since the introduction of this newish, I say new, it's about the last 4 years, Kookaburra cricket ball, got a bit more lacquer on it, stays harder for a bit longer, maybe it swings a little bit more. We've seen in the Shield that there's been less runs, certainly in the post-COVID era. Was just Jasprit Bumrah, and it doesn't matter which the batsman you sent out there, the bloke was just on fire, and that action that it's hard to pick up, and the in-swingers coming back in. I think he's the best quick in world cricket at the moment.
Yeah, I think his average is under 20 at the moment now.
He's a freak, man. He's
after getting that wicket of Marnus, I think that was the stat.
And just took the captaincy, in stride. You could see Coley making a lot of sort of decision makings in the field, much like Cummins and Smith kind of operate. So credit to Bumrah, incredibly talented, and I'm a bit scared for this day-night upcoming with him with the pink ball in his hands.
Yep.
Or is it just a lack of preparation?
Yeah, well, it's interesting coincidence here that Marnus's run of form is almost directly in line with when the new Kookaburra came out, for when his form dropped off post-COVID and the new ball type came. But I think that, the ball was there to be more advantageous to our bowlers as well. So, and I think 4 years is plenty of time to prepare for a new ball. Like, I don't think it should be causing that much issues now, which probably leads to
same ball that Jaiswal was smacking all around the park.
Correct. So I think it's probably the second point: the lack of prep, the lack of red ball cricket, the lack of maybe good quality first class cricket overall. Like. I think you've got the stats there of what the guys played leading up to.
Yeah, I've got the games. So this is the summer. So McSweeney played 2 Shield games and 2 Australia A games. So he actually played the most red ball cricket with 4. Khawaja played 3, good on him. And then Carey had played 3 Shield games and was top scorer in the Shield so far. This is where I start to scratch my head. Marnus 2 Shield games, Smith and Head 1, Stark 1, Cummins 0. Hazelwood 0, Lyon 2. With the quicks, I kind of you don't want to burn them out going into a long summer. Yep. I get that. There's probably our bowling quartet probably picks itself, 1,000 wickets between them. Yep. Bowlers didn't let us down in this. In this,
and we got plenty of depth at that kind of area as well at the moment. So
yeah, exactly. If one of them,
but they're the ones not struggling historically too.
Correct. So. And when we're playing a white ball series against Pakistan, and at this same venue a week and a bit ago, there was less than 10,000 people in there to watch essentially an Australia A side go out to play, and Paddy Cummins has taken the night off to go see Coldplay. Don't get me wrong, listen to Yellow and Coldplay's hits. Yeah. They're a good band. I get it. But Cricket Australia obviously doesn't give a fuck because they know someone's going to watch on TV.
Yeah, there's nothing.
Pat Cummins doesn't obviously give a fuck about these games. And I think the red ball, preparation is lacking.
Yeah, significantly.
They hadn't played Test cricket since March.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess that's the schedule. But I would have think to prepare for this, and I think this has always been the thing about, especially around Ashes time, we talk about Ashes and not enough Shield cricket gets played. I think also not enough high quality Shield cricket gets played, where your best players are playing in the Shield cricket, which then improves the overall quality of the Shield cricket.
Yeah.
So these guys, if they all played for New South Wales or they played for the various teams, would then be really, really, really good.
It never happened. It never happened.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe when Starkey and Nathan Lyon were playing for New South. They played one game. For New South
I think there was one game. Yeah, where I was like, this
never happens. Yeah. But it should. You're right. It should be happening 3 or 4 times a summer.
Yeah, because then guys like McSweeney that are playing elsewhere come out and then they're playing against the best guys in Australia, and then it's hopefully elevating their game. Whereas we don't get in there, as we kind of seen there. Credit to Uzi. He's probably got nothing better to do, so he's playing the most.
But Uzi strikes me as just a cricket nerd. He wants to be, he probably wants to be there. But knows.
He's a red ball. He's a red ball specialist, I think.
And that's there is an asterisk there because he's played 3, and then the other sticks, at least all of them, are involved in that white ball setup.
Series, yes, yeah. But why are we doing the white ball series?
Well, I'll take it off the players then. I'll go back to Cricket Australia. And why are we putting on these? Because clearly they don't care about the Pakistan result.
No.
That's what Cricket Australia. Cricket Australia showed that.
We got hammered
to us. The Australian public didn't care. Yeah. Because no one was there, and
Foxtel probably did. Because they paid for it.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's about TV, and you probably get a few people in Pakistan watching, and the TV rights obviously are an important part of the way that cricket functions as a business these days. But the Australian public, I think, is kind of peeking out, going, hang on. Yeah, we do like the advent. Most people can watch some T20 cricket. But I think most Australians still have Test cricket at the pinnacle. Yeah. And anything that's taking away from the preparation is not a good thing.
Especially one-day games.
Outside of World Cups, who cares?
Exactly.
No one cares anymore.
Yeah. It's probably should be a tournament format at this point. So.
That said, they could have all prepared a lot better, and Bumrah, and we've got to get to this kid Jaiswal, were just a class above. And maybe we just sound like whinging Aussies at the moment who would like to, have a week on the board of the, Cricket Australia and throw our 2 cents in.
Yeah, well, there's always been there's been the rhetoric recently that, Cummins picks his mates and he's playing with his mates.
So he's a cricket captain.
Yes. But having said that, I think, Cricket Australia should probably have a look at, why didn't we travel in winter?
At all?
At all. Yes, I guess we played the Ashes last year, and yeah, they're having a break. But then also you got a massive tournament in India. Like, why wouldn't you travel somewhere? Go to Northern Hemisphere somewhere, play someone.
Or do they play too much cricket and they thought we need some R&R? And India, speaking of the other, they've just come off 3 tests at home and they lost all 3. Maybe there's an argument that they need more rest and they need to be able to go to more Coldplay concerts.
Yeah. But they need more rest because they're playing too much white ball cricket.
Yeah.
So they go back to our point. It's like
yeah.
they just don't play enough of this format, I think, is where we're getting at.
Yeah. Or they're not playing enough red ball cricket total.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's give some credit to we already gave some props to Jasprit Bumrah. This kid, YB Jaspal, we spoke about his, come up about, coming from nothing and a mentor / coach showing a lot of faith in him from a young age. 200-run opening partnership for him and KL Rahul, highest opening partnership by Indians in Australia. Yep. Goes on to make 161. He's 22 years of age. He already has a century on debut against the Windies last June, and then back-to-back hundreds against England, and including tying Wasim Akram's Test record of 12 sixes in an innings. He's played 50 games plus for Rajasthan Royals, 23 T20 internationals, and can bring up his 100 with like an uppercut ramp for 6 over fine leg. I don't even know how that's possible.
Yeah.
Is this what we're looking at for the next 15 years?
Potentially. Well, you mentioned 26 players under 25, I think it was. Like they're in their kind of transition phase, I guess, the end of the Kohli era.
Yeah, so Kohli, Sharma, Jadeja, Ashwin.
Yeah, they're kind of transitioning out of the era. They're working on that, whereas we're kind of still in that, I'm going to call it the Smith era, and Smith, Stark, Cummins, and we're probably at the start of where we need to start transitioning out of that, but where's our young talent, I think, is where we're
we don't have the depth and the people banging down the door, which is what we'll get to in just a second. Yeah. You're right, because you look at the next 2 years, Khawaja and Lyon will retire / get moved on, you would think. Then Smudge, Starkey, Cummins is still only 31. I think he's still got a little bit longer.
He could be a captain.
Carey's a bit older than what you'd think, but again, form-wise, not looking that bad.
Yeah, I think he's 30 when we looked at it the other day.
So the next 2 years, you're really only looking at Khawaja and Lyon, and then possibly Smudger, depending on how he goes. And then after that, you're probably looking at Hazelwood and then Cummins, Carey, and the rest.
Yep.
When do we start making the call on young talent?
Yeah, well...
Does it need to happen for Adelaide?
Great question. Maybe we'll get to that.
Okay.
Because Cam Green kind of comes into that conversation of young talent that we did blood and
doing very well.
Seems to have worked out for us.
And I really hope that he's recovering well from that, because back surgery is nothing to sneeze at his age. Although a lot of quicks have had it and come back and done quite well. Yep. I don't know if you can get beaten by 295 runs and say we're not making a change.
Yeah. So finish off. You got to mention Kohli getting his 100.
Yes.
7th test 100 in Australia and first test in 29 innings, I think, or something like that.
For him?
Yeah, been a while for him. Sucks that he did it against us here. We're going to be disappointed.
He loves batting down here.
But yeah, he obviously lifts to the occasion, especially Australia in Australia. It's one of the toughest places to win Test cricket. So, yeah.
Is it though? They've beaten us 2 series in a row. South Africa's beaten us down here. We're dropping one-off games to West Indies again. I don't know how much that...
Well, yeah, the fortress that it was is
not penetrable.
Because you talk about the record at not the WACA, but at Perth, you talk about the record was their record at Gabba. You talk about our record on pink tests, and
that's what
all of that stuff's kind of up for grabs.
Bro, I thought if we win this test, we go and it's 2-0 because we don't lose a pink test at home. That's what that's before this test started. I felt big test, we win this, we're up 2-0, and then we could maybe afford to drop something later in the summer.
Yeah.
Now my brain's like, fuck, Bumrah had us on toast without a pink ball.
Yep.
Imagine, he's coming in off that short run up with that whippy hyperextension action, and
Mm.
look even more fearful than we did in this test.
Yeah.
Like I'm shitting it even more.
Yeah. Yeah. As soon as the ball starts moving, the Australians seem to collapse.
No one's getting on the front foot to him.
Yeah. That leads into the second innings, which we had that horror start. 4 for 17. 4 for 17.
Thank you, Travis Head.
Made it reasonable.
Yep. 89 off 101.
Yep.
We lose by 295 instead of 350, 400, whatever it could have been.
And I think back to your previous point, Carey, Marsh, and Head probably is our main run scorers. I think there's definitely big issues in the top end. I think you can't average 20 from your top 4 batsmen across 2 innings.
Of course not.
That's not a recipe for success at all. Was it 23 tests without a century for Steve Smith?
For Smudger.
So his longest drought.
And that I think should have an asterisk on it because he did carry his bat in that West Indies game. So essentially, if someone had been able to stick with him, he probably does have 100 not too long ago. I would have laughed at you a year ago if you said Marnus should be in.
Well, you did.
I did, yeah. And we haven't played that much Test cricket since. Yeah. It doesn't look good for him. I think I've got the tweet here on his recent form, and I hate to do this because I'm a big fan.
It's not great.
I've got the sticker right there.
Yeah.
9 of his last 10 Test innings, he's scored 10 or less. Got 1 ton in his last 41 Test innings, and 11 of his last 18 are 10 or less.
Yep.
So he's only made double digits. I'm talking about getting to 30 or 50, double digits, 7 out of his last 18 innings.
Yep.
I think his saving grace is that no one's really banging the door down.
Yeah. So that probably goes into the conversation to like where to from now. Jimmy's thrown out a comment there about dividing the locker room, and there had been some talk, rumours about the bowlers aren't real happy with the batsmen, and they worked really hard day one.
Do a lot of work.
Yeah, exactly.
And all barring Smudge and Khawaja, all the bowlers are the older guys.
Yep. But having said that, the second innings for India, the bowlers didn't really. They kind of lost their way. When we got Labuschagne bowling bounces in and over and then switching to spinners and then Travis Head's coming out, you've lost your way essentially. That's the white flag. So I think overall you can't really say there's a divide in the locker room when the whole team probably didn't play as well as they thought they could play in this game.
And I also I don't know how much to buy into those when it's an outsider trying to question the team dynamics of a team that has won World Cups together and retained nations together.
Yeah, we won the World Test
Championship together. The Australian public is very quick to turn on people.
Yes. So, having said that, who are they turning on? And I think if anyone was going to be changed, Marnus is probably at the top of the list, unfortunately, because I think Aussie's done what he is Aussie, and I don't think Usman's going to get.
I think he's
changed.
fine.
I think he's fine, and
I think if
he can retire gracefully when he wants.
Yep, I think if you pick McSweeney, you need to give him a couple chances.
Exactly.
I think it's not a good thing to do to a cricketer or a person to say, "Yep, you can play for Australia." Oh, there's 1 test, you didn't make runs. You got 2 Jaffers.
Yep.
See ya.
Yeah, Marnus. We've talked about his struggles. Then you go on to Smith, and you go. He's probably on the same track as...
Yeah, he's like where Marnus was a year ago without having played that much cricket, in my mind.
Yes. So he's probably safe for now because he's Steve Smith.
Yeah.
But, another bad series, and maybe next summer if he starts poorly, we'll then be asking those questions.
Head safe.
Head's been... Head's probably been the best of the batsmen.
Yep.
And
I think Mitch Marsh has been pretty good too.
Miss Marsh, I think, has been good.
Carey safe.
He again be good. Those 3 were our top scorers in the second innings. So, and I don't think you make a bowling change at this stage.
I don't think so.
I know Spencer Johnson's been bowling really well. Mm-hmm. Todd Murphy,
Scotty Boland always does well.
Yeah, Todd Murphy's not too far away. And if they want to change something up, but I think they'll stick with the 4 bowlers. I think
bowlers didn't lose us this test.
Yeah, I think it's probably Marnus. But then if it's Marnus, who's coming in?
And that's where I don't think they make a change because Josh Inglis is in this squad and he's making some runs.
Yep, made some runs.
But the guys, obviously, that, had been earmarked to possibly get this gig with McSweeney beating him out in Marcus Harris and Cameron Bancroft don't have any recent runs to speak of in the Shield. You feel for Cam Bancroft because the last 2 Shield seasons he's been phenomenal. But it's been a horrendous summer for him. But I actually really feel for him because he had a great opportunity to get back in and sort of try to make amends for the sandpaper gate. And I really do hope that he gets to play Test cricket again.
Yep.
Do you throw a 19-year-old Sam Constance to the Wolves?
Yeah, well, I think Harris and Renshaw there's a bunch of retreads you could try again, but they haven't really been successful. And I guess Harris was probably number 2 to McSweeney in the scored runs in the Shield in that conversation. But do you play him at 3? I don't know. Whereas
Harris would open and
you'd move McSweeney potentially, yeah. But and then the same conversation, maybe Sam makes the most sense as a 3, but he's 19.
It's a lot of pressure.
It's a lot of pressure to come in a squad in India. But
he's 3 years younger than Joshua.
Yeah, but maybe that's where you start. You start, having that series, get that experience, confidence, and then he turns into the next Steve Smith, Ricky Ponting, etc. Or is it?
Well, saying when he made those back-to-back tons for New South Wales, that he was the youngest person to do so in the Shield since Ricky Ponting.
Really? Yeah.
Again, he's young. You don't want to
exactly. You don't want to blood him too early.
Overhype him just yet.
Yeah. Or blood him too early and then stunt his growth. But again, it's on the individual. For most of this, he could come in and just light it on fire and be a generational talent. That is also potential, but.
Henry Hunt, he's been earmarked for quite some time from South Australia. He's made 2 tons in the Shield this year, averaging about 41. Hilton Cartwright has played Test cricket for Australia. He's averaging 61.
Footbrush is in there that doesn't get talked about a lot. But
he's down there if they wanted to give the Footbrush another chance. But there's no one banging the door down. You take Carey's numbers aside here because he's in the side.
Well, you could just put him there as a mark. Like he's averaging 90 and then it drops down to the guys averaging 60, 60, 40, 60, 60.
What about Inglis here? His average this year in the Shield is 99.
From 2 games.
Albeit he's only played the 2 Shield matches. I think he was in that Australia A side.
Yep.
And he's in the squad.
Yeah.
If they make a change,
it makes the most logical sense for Inglis to come in. We don't think they'll do wholesale changes, like they'll change the openers completely and, I think have 3 or 4 bats different, but
I think it'd be detrimental to blow it all up.
Yeah, I think if you want to make a tweak, maybe sit Marnus down. Maybe it's a kick in the butt he needs, and give Inglis a go. And then where do you bat him? Do you slide it up?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Smith go to 3, heads 4, and he's 5.
Yeah, I haven't thought this through
because he's the wicket keeper.
He could open, and McSweeney could go back to 3 or 4 where he bats for South Australia. I'm not necessarily advocating for it either.
Yeah, but if we just follow the storyline,
my feeling is
you
can't lose like that and not make a change.
Yeah,
that would be my feeling.
Yeah. So if you pick him, where are you playing him?
Open.
So a new opener.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm speculating.
Is there a world where you have the young fellas open and Aussie slides down?
No, I don't think you do that either because Khawaja has really made opening.
That's his thing.
His thing.
Yeah.
Since his recall, I don't have the answers. The Australian public is quick to turn, and I feel for Marnus because I think we had this conversation about a year ago, and I laughed.
Yeah. Well, I think that same conversation also had the head conversation. Do you move head? Yeah, head doesn't want to do it.
Doesn't want to do it, but he's batting pretty good at 5.
Yeah, but for the team dynamic, do you play him as a more David Warner replacement?
That's what everyone saw. That's someone that can be attacking and
offensive, etc.
That's right.
Yeah, and then you can protect the young fellas a little bit, and you put Inglis more in the middle there. Yeah, I don't know.
Lucky it's not a 3-day turnaround.
Yes,
had a little bit of time to think about it.
Yeah,
there's a PM's 11 2-dayer this weekend here in Canberra.
Watch the flights and see what Aussies get on planes.
Well, they've named the PM's 11. Do you want me to? There's I think Renshaw was in there.
Where are they playing that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see if we've got a squad here. I also don't know if this is how many of the Indian stars are going to play in this. All right, Jack Edwards, captain. Scotty Boland's in there. Sammy Harper, Sam Constas, Matt Renshaw. Probably the only guys that you would think could push for a selection. Sam Harper's probably not going to get picked for Australia. It's really only Sam Constas and Matt Renshaw you'd think that would have an opportunity. That's a lot of pressure for them as well. I don't have the answers here, man. I'm just open to the Marnus conversation now.
Yeah. I definitely think he's been unfortunately struggling. His bowling's really not adding it much.
He could bowl 135. I think he and Brian Fletcher had a bet that he could bowl 135.
Here's a wild stat for you. Hazelwood's averaging more in this test than Marnus is, but Marnus is bowling faster than Hazelwood was.
On average?
Yeah, I think so.
Really? Interesting. Where to? Do you think anyone... Do they need to make a change? I'm talking like they have to make a change, like it's the end of Australian cricket.
I think they'll make a change. I'm always with the young fellas. I'd love to see a young fella. I'd love to see Sam get a go, conscious, but also, wary of that. But we've definitely thrown a few young fellas chances, and they've been successful initially. We threw Will Pukoski, got to start early and batted pretty well for all his other issues.
Unusual circumstances with him being hitting the head so much.
Go back to Phil Hughes as well. Phil Hughes, I thought, again, we gave him a chance. But I think both cases, those guys were early 20s as a comparison instead of 19. But you never know. For the amount of cricket we've watched, I kind of think of, the Steve Waugh, Ricky Ponting era, into Michael Clarke, into Steve Smith, into... Who's that guy? Maybe it's Qantas. Maybe, a lot of pressure. Yeah, no, it is a lot of pressure when you name those guys and that kind of transition. But I think we're at that point where we're like, what is the next era? Era of Australian cricket coming from? Yeah.
The other thing is, it's one test. It's one test. You can lose your first match of a 5-game series, go back and win 3-1, 4-1.
Yep.
And we saw some really good patches.
Yep.
Really good patches. The bowlers were good. Middle order batting, not too bad at all. We've just got this top order's got to make some runs.
We've got to score runs.
Got to make some runs.
Yep. Yeah, it's a struggles.
IPL auction was last night.
Before we finish, India, Rohit.
Sharma.
What do you do? Shubman might be healthy as well.
Yeah,
you can't sacrifice the young fella.
No, I think Patakar might be in trouble.
Yeah, and move Rahul down.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah. Rahul, I think before this test would have been the guy that I said would make way. Sharma is in Australia now, or has boarded his flight. You would expect he's going to be in that side regardless. I think Patakar makes way.
Yep. Do you think any of the spinners get a go in Adelaide?
Good question. Do they go with two spinners, with Sundar and either Jadeja or Ashwin? Do we see...
Yeah, do we see a fast bowler go?
Both come back in?
Or being a day-night test leads to more fast bowling swingers? So
but they barely bowled Reddy as is. Again, Reddy didn't play bad, so I don't see how he deserves to be dropped. Maybe Jadeja is going to keep running the drinks, which is crazy to...
Can we check to see if he's got an Australian passport floating around?
Does he want to pledge his allegiance?
Yeah.
Could you imagine the man who has murdered us on so many occasions, Jadu?
Yeah, we need some depth.
And that's the difference, isn't it?
Yeah, we just named 5 blokes that could be in there.
We're like, who's ready for Test cricket? And we're like, where do you fit in?
Well, their old heads are potentially getting kicked out by the young fellas.
They're doing maybe what we need to do in the next few years.
Yeah,
but
18 months.
Let's see how this Adelaide Test goes. We are very good in pink ball tests in Australia. We haven't lost one.
Yep.
Could be famous last words.
Yeah, they're afraid of the pink ball test.
Yeah, just worth mentioning. Yep. I think IPL will kick off obviously in about April next year after we've just whinged about too much white ball cricket. But it is the pinnacle and you can't...
That's how they get paid.
Exactly right. And now the way that the World Cricket schedule works is you're actually not sacrificing any other series to go play in the IPL, given the way that the calendar is structured.
But you do have what happened this year, and you don't play anything in the middle of it.
When there's a T20 World Cup,
there's 12 months between Red Bull series.
Yeah, and I don't know if the T20 World Cup is interesting and is a license to
print
money, so it's probably going to keep running every 2 years. I don't know what the answer is. I think if you're not
World Cup every 2 years.
If you're not involved in that setup, then everyone needs to be playing. I think I said Shield county cricket in England. I don't know. Yeah. I don't have the answers, man. It was hard to see, and we're watching Bumrah take poles again, and maybe we just didn't give him enough credit. He's the best bowler, best quick in the world.
Yeah, I feel like our conditions also play really well for him. So
yeah.
He's definitely benefiting from being out here.
Like, look at that McSweeney ball. That hasn't bounced a whole lot at all.
It stayed down. It's nipped in good 6 inches.
That's just a seed.
Yep.
All right. That'll do us. Get at us in the comments. Particularly wouldn't mind hearing from any Indian listeners what you think about the Indian selections, because that's obviously something that you might have better insights than what we do. It came as a bit of a surprise for us to see Ashwin and Jadeja not playing. Obviously, didn't make much of a difference.
Yeah. When's that next test start?
Thursday week, I believe.
Thursday week. Yep.
All right. Let's